Welcome to Satsang. We always start with a question that's come in from our family that is all over the world, that joins us through the gift of technology online, and they send in questions. And we always start with one that comes from them, and then we open it up to any question that anyone here might have. All of the kids take note. Kids get special preference. So if you have a question, you are first in line. But also open to anyone and everyone. There's 2 microphones, so whichever is closer to you, just feel free to come up to the microphone and ask your question. But beginning with one that comes in advance, then we'll come straight to you. How do we explore higher consciousness? How high can one reach? Awaiting your gracious reply from Siddhi Sid. How high can we reach? It's an interesting way of thinking about it, because we do speak about a higher consciousness, and yet it's not something existing in space. Like if I say to you, this couch is higher than that step stool, it's in space. If I say, I'm sitting higher than you're sitting, it's in space. The airplane is higher than the ground in space. But consciousness doesn't actually exist in space. You're not going anywhere. When we speak about higher consciousness, it tends to refer to 2 different things. One, you can think about it working with your energetic body, with the chakras. What we speak of as lower consciousness would be consciousness, awareness, focus, attention in more of the animal aspects, the very basic aspects of our life. Fear, survival, reproduction. That's what our lower chakras tend to be around. Our survival, our reproduction, that fear. And of course, as we rise with the energy, with the chakras, and ultimately we come up to the crown chakra, the Sahasrara chakra, it's a much higher consciousness than a Muladhara chakra. And it's actually moved up through the energetic body. But that's the only place where there is really actually a higher and lower. Typically when we talk about higher consciousness, what it means is closer to the truth. Higher consciousness just means consciousness that is more real, more true. So if I'm living in body consciousness, for example, it's a spiritually lower form of consciousness, not in space, but meaning I'm not the body. I'm most definitely not the body. It is definitely part of Maya, illusion, falsehood, avidya, agyan, lack of knowledge, lack of wisdom, ignorance. You get a little bit higher in that identification, and we start to identify as our relationships, our roles. Also ignorance, also not true. Slowly, 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 we get into an awareness of that which is, more and more true, closer and closer to that experience of the awareness as just pure awareness, as just pure consciousness. Not of the body, not of the role, not of the story, not the emotions, not the relationships, but just indivisible, infinite, unchangeable, constantly aware like the light bulb that never goes out. That. So that's the higher consciousness that we're speaking about. But again, it's not higher in space. It's just more true. In terms of how high can you go, again, we're not a plane that's lifting off, going higher and higher and higher and higher. Yeah, sometimes some of us have had spiritually induced out-of-body experiences where you do absolutely feel like you are going higher and higher. But that's much more a temporary out-of-body experience that isn't about a stage of consciousness. It's just experiences that different people have in different ways. So the highest you can go with consciousness is to what we would call God consciousness. And again, it's not sitting somewhere up here. It's not physically higher. But it's more true. God consciousness. That awareness that I am not separate from God. I am the creator, I am the creation. Everything that is happening in me. Now that sounds weird if you've never thought about it. Everything's happening in me. What does that even mean? But the simple and easy way to understand it is if you think about when you dream at night. Now you have a dream, and we have so many different dreams each night. But let's say in your dream, you go on a beautiful trip. You go down to South India and you go on a tour of all of the temples. And first you picture yourself getting in a car to the airport here. Then you get in a plane. Then you notice that the food on the plane is really bad, but the stewardess was really nice. All these sorts of things you notice. Then you land. You notice it's really hot when you get off the plane. Humid, you're kind of sweating. Then you go into the mandirs. Maybe first you go to Rameshwaram and you have this gorgeous, sacred darshan. Then maybe you go and you have a beautiful lunch or dinner. Then maybe you go Tirupati Balaji. Maybe you donate your hair, you shave your head. Then you feel it like what it feels like to not have any hair. Now, eventually you wake up. And it was all a dream. I mean, those places existed, but you didn't actually go there. You didn't have any of those experiences. The airplane, the stewardess, the bad food, the lady who cut your hair, the temple even where you had the darshan. Where did it all exist? Only in you. Nothing was there. The heat, the humidity, the person sitting next to you on the airplane. It existed only in you. There was nothing but you and bed. But it seemed real. So this is how we are taught on the what we would call highest level of consciousness. God consciousness, that all of this is happening in us. The way that entire yatra to South India happened in you. That this whole creation is happening in us. And when we actually wake up from this, when we experience God consciousness, then we know, oh my God, there was no nice neighbor, bad neighbor. Good boss, mean boss, annoying colleague, nice colleague, good day, bad day. There was none of that. Like there was no stewardess, no hair cutter, no bad food on the plane. There was nothing. It just is all you. That's God consciousness. That's as deep and as true as we can go. And along the way, remember that we've been put here in human bodies. And I believe that we've been put here in human bodies in order to relish, to some extent, the human experience. That we haven't been given human bodies just to ignore them, just to realize that it's an illusion, but actually to also engage with, interact with, experience, learn from this human experience. And so we move through this human experience knowing our truest self is God. Aham Brahmasmi. Tattvam Asi. Soham. All of these teachings, I am Brahman. Thou art that. I am that. But that's the truth. And doesn't the rose smell beautiful? And oh, that child is hungry. Let me feed them. And we move through the world knowing that truest truth, giving ourselves opportunities, as many as we can, to have that experience, to remember it, to know it, but not to negate or deny the exquisiteness of this human experience as well. So it's both. Great question. Yes. Namaste.
Pranam Sadhviji. How can we avoid the negative thoughts flow into our mind that affect our peace of mind, calmness, as well as sleep at night?
Negative thoughts. This seems to be, he said, how do we avoid the negative thoughts in our mind? And it's interesting because this question seems to come up almost every night. And it seems like at this time of Kali Yuga, all of our minds are just full of that darkness. That it's not you, it's not you, it's not you, it's everyone, all the time. Negative thoughts, negative thoughts. Fortunately, there's actually a lot of ways out of it. The first piece to remember is, it's not your fault. You're not a bad person because you have negative thoughts. It is the nature of the mind, and it's especially the nature of the mind in Kali Yuga. We are going to be geared toward negativity, darkness, ignorance, falsehood. But then we have this beautiful thing called free will. And that free will enables us to overcome the negative thoughts. They're just habits. They're just tendencies. So number one, catch them as soon as you can. Problem for most of us is on some level we like it. On some level there's a little part of us that Joe, as we say in Hindi, thoda sa maza lete hain. Right? You're sitting there and you're thinking nasty things about somebody else, and there's just a little bit of maza inside. Because it makes you feel better than that person. The more negative I can think about someone, the better I feel about myself. So it's a very cheap, very shallow, very short-lived way of giving yourself a little ego boost. Feel negative about myself. Well, instead of that, I can just let my mind wander and notice how ugly this other person is, or how stupid they are, or how unspiritual they are. And suddenly, I feel a little better about myself. Stop yourself as soon as you notice you're doing it, because it doesn't actually improve your self-esteem. It doesn't actually improve your self-confidence. It just lures you temporarily into feeling better. But all it's done is made your mind more negative. And the same mind that is negative about others will turn around and bite you in the rear end, because once you've trained it to be negative, it's going to be negative about you. The minute you notice it's negative, change your thought. Just change your thought. And you have a choice of what you can change it to. You can chant a mantra. You can recite a name of God. You can sing a song. You can recite a prayer or a poem. Or you can think about something positive about that person. Even if it's just, they are a divine soul. They are a divine soul. Everyone. Everyone is soul. Every soul is divine. It's the nature of the soul. So no matter how much negativity you may be able to find in their personality or their actions or their body or their clothing style, just shift the mind. They are a divine soul. They are a divine soul. They are a divine soul. Just allow the mind immediately to do something different. Don't get stuck in a habit. But you have to stop maza later. You've got to train yourself not to take the enjoyment in that. And just immediately stop it. And then for the future, so that's once you find yourself having the thought. But for the future, it's like they say, right? An idle mind is the devil's workshop. If my mind is idle, it means I'm not doing anything positive with it. Neither am I chanting a mantra, nor am I reciting God's name, nor am I being mindful and aware every minute, every moment. Nor am I planning something beautiful that's going to benefit humanity in some way. I'm just idle. Well, that negativity is going to take over my idle mind into the workshop. That's what it means. The idle mind is the devil's workshop. So the way then to prevent the negative thoughts. So I've given you what to do if you find yourself in the middle of the thought. But then how to prevent it. Keep the mind doing what it should be doing. Do japa, recite a name of God, recite a prayer, a poem, an affirmation, a truism. Be mindful. Be aware of the breath. Plan beautiful projects in your mind that are going to benefit other people. Whomever you meet, immediately before the negative mind kicks in, think of something positive about them. Just immediately. And if you can't think of anything, go back to they are a divine soul. Because there's no argument there. The mind is never going to say, no, they're not. Of course they are. At the core of their annoying personality, They are soul. And the soul is divine. But if you can find something positive even about their actual human person, they're very compassionate, they try very hard, they are very responsible, they are this. See if you can come up with something positive. If not, last resort, they are a divine soul. Because that will always work. And you do it preemptively. Don't wait for the mind to be negative. Don't stay idle. Move through your world every minute, every moment. The mind should be full. Full of japa, full of God's name, full of prayers, full of awareness, full of beautiful plans that are going to benefit the world, full of how grateful you are. Make lists all day long of all the things you're grateful for. Just keep making lists. Just keep noticing every minute, what else are you grateful for? You turned on a tap, water actually came out. Oh my God. Wow, thank you. You crossed the street without being hit by a crazy driver of a car. Thank God. Not everybody's so lucky. You made it through a day. Your legs are still intact, your arms are intact, your eyes are intact, your loved ones are still alive. Thank you, God. You were able on some level today, on some level, to benefit another being. Maybe you brought them a smile. Maybe you held the door open. Maybe you gave them a glass of water. Maybe you did something more. But be thankful for that. So I've given you at least 10 different things you can do instead of be negative. And it's no problem to have variety. It's not that you have to only do one thing. Do some japa, chant some mantras, say some prayers, think of things you're grateful for, and notice wonderful things about other people. Fill the mind with pure awareness. Don't latch on to anything in particular, just what we call sky awareness. So many different things you can do all day long. And it'll keep the mind from becoming negative. And slowly, 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 you'll find that that habit just disappears. It's just a habit. I mean, there are people we all know who just by nature are negative. No matter what happens, they are negative. And there are people who are the opposite. By nature, they are positive. And you can train yourself. So train yourself to be positive. It's a learnable skill. Beautiful. Yes, of course. Yes.
Pranam Sadhviji. It's a true blessing to see you in person. My question to you is, the art of being in present is being thoughtful, being with no thoughts, thoughtlessness, and being aware or being conscious at the present moment. So when you are in this particular state, how you can plan and work on with your responsibility that you have to fulfill for your family? Because I am a mother of 2. So a basic example I can quote, like tomorrow they have to go for a school, so I need to plan their lunch box a day prior. So,
absolutely.
So how to balance the two, or I am unable to?
Great question. So you're absolutely right. There are things in our life that require our thinking mind. Plan a lunchbox. Plan who's going to run what errand, who's going to do what chore. Balance your checkbook. Write an email. Plenty of things during the day that require our thinking mind. In those times, use your thinking mind. But what you're going to notice is that there's lots and lots and lots of time you have during the day, lots of things you do, that actually all that happens is the mind wanders. You're doing dishes, for example. The mind is not thinking, is this enough soap? Should I put more soap? Did I put too much soap? You know, it's easy. You don't have to actually think about washing dishes. The mind is going, oh, this is so unfair. I am the one who has to wash dishes every night. Really, did he need 5 different plates for dinner? Like he couldn't have eaten off of one plate? Seriously, every course needed a different plate? Let's see how many plates he uses if he has to wash dishes. Now, it's normal, it's natural, it's human, and it's a total waste of time. Useless. Taking the mind in negative directions unnecessarily. Instead, at that time, allow yourself just to be present and aware with the suds, with the warm water, with the repetitive motion of scrubbing and rinsing, scrubbing and rinsing. Be aware of your breath as you do it. You can even chant a mantra while you do it. And you'll notice that planning a lunchbox, for example, doesn't take that long. I imagine you've done it enough times. You can probably figure it out in a minute or less in your mind. But the mind has a tendency to go overboard. Let's see. Peanut butter and jelly sandwich, some almonds, an apple, and some carrot sticks. Then the mind goes, oh, we don't have carrot sticks. Oh my God, I forgot to buy carrot sticks. Oh, I am awful. Why do I always forget something? My mom told me I would never be responsible. I'm the worst mother in the world. There's no carrot sticks. Oh my God. Now you see what's happened. You began with a useful thought. You're planning a lunchbox. But you see how quickly that nonsense habitual mind takes over? It starts telling you things that are not even true, certainly not helpful, also not true. You're no longer planning a lunchbox. You're now sinking into despair about the fact that you are every negative thing that has ever been said to you your entire life. You've just compared yourself poorly to every other mother who existed who you are sure never runs out of carrots. The moment that the mind starts to go there, you grab it. You grab it. Awareness. Judgment. Judgment. Negativity. Criticism. Rag, dvesh, desires, aversions. And you just come back. You come back. Okay. So tomorrow it'll be celery, not carrots. Or an orange. Or whatever it is. And you finish planning the lunchbox. And then you go back to being mindful. You come back to the breath. You're going to notice how much more time you have than you think. And the other last benefit is, when you're actually using your thinking mind, you'll find it actually works much better. There is a reason that people who work with tools polish them and sharpen them. Chefs in restaurants, they're constantly sharpening their knives, polishing their knives. Why? Because they know the more I polish it, sharpen it, the better it's going to work. At the end of the day, they clean it, they keep it away, they're not just throwing it around. They know. This tool is what enables me to do the work I want to do. Artists take very good care of their paints, of their brushes. They know. This is what enables me to do what I want to do. if we don't learn to metaphorically sharpen, polish, take care of our mind, what you find is that when you give it something that it actually does need to do, it has to plan something, it's not really able, it's quite dull. Because it is so used to just randomly running all over the place, being negative, being useless, being in the past, being in the future, being in that which isn't even true, being in its own stories, that you don't even have a good tool to use for what you need. So do both. When you need it, use it. When it's done, put it away. And then you shift into your just pure awareness. Beautiful. Great question. Yes. Yes.
Namaste, Sadhviji.
Namaste.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I have few questions like...
Okay. Can you come a little closer to the mic?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
So actually my questions are in 4 parts. I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. I'm having difficulty hearing you.
Am I audible?
Yes, now you are.
Yeah. So I have my questions in 4 parts.
4 parts, okay.
I'll present it. So the first is, why did God create this world? Second is, how can we truly forgive? The third is not having the desire of moksha in mind yet a bad thing? And the fourth one is, how can I know the purpose of my life?
Beautiful. So it's actually 4 beautiful questions. We may have time for just one of them tonight and then take more tomorrow.
Sure.
So you choose. If you had to choose from amongst the 4, where would you start?
How can we truly forgive?
How can we truly forgive? Great. Not forgiving is what is keeping you stuck. The problem is, in our mind, we believe that what someone else did is what makes us stuck. You hurt me, therefore I am miserable, I can't go on, I'm stuck. Changing that into realizing that actually the reason I'm stuck, yes, that person hurt me, but the reason I'm stuck is because I'm holding on to the hurt. They hurt me in the past. I've brought it into the present. With every moment, every minute that I'm remembering about it, thinking it, hating them over and over again, I'm bringing what happened into the present. I've gone from being the victim to being the aggressor. When they did it to me, I was the victim. Now I'm the one who does it to myself over and over again. They hurt me once, or maybe 10 times, but I'm hurting myself every minute. And that awareness needs to sink in really deeply. That it is not someone else's action that is making you stuck. It is your holding on to it that is making you stuck. And the minute that you deeply, deeply realize that, you want it out of you the way that you would want a tumor out of you if a doctor told you had a tumor in you that was going to kill you. You'd say, do whatever you have to do, but take it out. Then we say, okay, I need to let this go so that I can be free. And you allow that to be all of what you think. Stop thinking about what they did. Stop thinking about whether it was wrong or right. It doesn't matter. They're going to get the karmic consequences. We are not the karmic police. They will get the consequences. Your forgiving is only so you can be free. And then I have found that rituals are really powerful. Have a ritual. You're here on the banks of Ganga, nothing better. Other possibilities are into fire, into yagna. At the foot of trees, in the soil. But literally, physically feel yourself offer it. Hold water in your hands. Offer the anger to the water. And offer the water back to Ganga. Hold soil in your hands. Offer it into the soil. Offer the soil back to Mother Earth. Offer it into the samagri in your hands, the ahuti in your hands. Offer that into the fire. But offer it back to the universe, out of which everything is created and into which everything dissolves. Right? We know scientifically that energy, all of the energy here today is just a different form of energy from the original Big Bang. It's not being created, it's not being destroyed. Anger is an energy. Hatred is an energy. It's an energy inside of you. Offer that energy back into the universe. Let it be transformed into a different type of energy. Let it be the energy that allows the tree to grow. Let it be the energy that lets the flames rise for a moment higher in the fire. Let it be the energy into the flow of Mother Ganga. Let the universe transmute that energy. The same way that it does with all other energies. Once you really realize that it actually is like a tumor inside of me, and kuch bhi ho jaye, I have to get it out. For the brief moment that we lose the ability to see, we actually can hear better. So whenever that happens, just allow yourself, has your sense of smell heightened? Is your sense of hearing heightened? Do you notice a fragrance in the air you didn't notice before? So you're here on the banks of Ganga. Go to Ganga. And just let it go. Give it to her. She knows what to do. Take it. Just take it. Take it. I'm done. I'm done. And then, lastly, allow yourself to see the face of the person who hurt you. And tell them in your mind to their face, I forgive you. Forgive them. If you want to say it out loud, say it out loud. Person so-and-so, I forgive you. Yeah, beautiful. We'll take up the others tomorrow. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your evening. Beautiful day tomorrow. And remember, as always, to take advantage, if you're here during the day tomorrow, to take advantage of all of the beautiful offerings that we have, the yoga classes, meditation classes, philosophy classes, the morning sacred yagna ceremony. Of course, the evening arati, but I assume you all come here from there. But fill your day while you're here with as much as you possibly can that touches and transforms and inspires you. So that when you go back, it wasn't just you had a good few days, but that you've really allowed yourself to be transformed. There's schedules up in our reception area of the timing and the venues, and of course everything is open to everyone, no charge whether you're staying here or not staying here, it doesn't matter. And I look so forward to seeing you all back here tomorrow